Hey everybody, welcome back to Nomasburg. It's the second episode, Sanctum Gamer here, and I want to start off by thanking you all for the support that you showed in the last video. It is greatly appreciated. Thank you for all your comments of positive words and encouragement and the suggestions. I have seen them all have been noted, and some great suggestions are actually being seen, and I really look forward to implementing some of them. Actually, it's really awesome to see how people have taken to the series, and I'm excited to see where it goes. I want to also say a special thank you to everybody who has signed up to support the channel on Patreon or on YouTube membership. It is highly appreciated. So in today's build, we will be expanding the town that we started in the first episode. And if you might recall, I mentioned that I wanted this to be a farming community on a small scale. Now, one of the things that I haven't quite figured out yet is exactly how I want these farms to look. So in this episode and the next, I'll probably be playing with a few techniques to try and see which one I like best. Might have different techniques that I use in sort of the denser areas, and have a different technique for, places where I want large scale looking farms. But here right now, we will be focusing on smaller scale farms. So these will be houses that have these small lots in their backyard that they've turned into a farming opportunity of sort. And I wanted this to be like the main residential street in this town. I wanted it to really have just one main residential street. So this is the only street really that I wanted tarred, or that should have a tarred road on it. And a lot of the houses are placed around this area. But again, most of them are still doing a lot of farming. And then moving away from there, I didn't want the place to be too densely packed. So around here, I just wanted a sort of single houses that are a bit spread apart, but have fairly larger lots that they use for their farming. And these resources, your ore, your oil, they're a nice way of actually making things that look like farms. And I think I'll probably use this technique a lot more when I want to cover a lot of ground that looks like it's large farms, but you can't really place too many props and decals down. That's another thing. Like, I need to watch very carefully what I put down, because we all know about the prop limits and stuff like that. So I need to manage all of that pretty well. So if you see me not detailing certain areas as well as others, that's because I'm keeping that kind of stuff in mind. I don't want to just randomly end the series in the middle of nowhere because I've reached a prop limit or a network and node limit. I think that's probably the limit I am most concerned about, but we'll see. We'll do our best to manage it. This is a small little house. I figured there's some rich person in this area and they've decided, hey, I'm gonna set up right in front of the water because that's their vibe. So I just wanted this to be a small, kind of cute little house where they have their own little boats directly onto the river. And I enjoy boats like this. I think boats like this are the sort of stuff that I really enjoy, because I kind of see myself living in this sort of place. It's like the chilled life. You walk out and there's a river right there. I love these rocks at the back. I thought they were kind of a nice addition to it. You can imagine like these bulldozers coming in and like knocking out all these rocks just to build this person's house. And then on this side, I wanted a ferry stop at least. So this is kind of the first real ferry terminal that will exist on the map. If you might recall, I mentioned during the map build that I wanted a lot of towns connected via the river. So ferries are going to play a very big part in this build overall. And here I just wanted a nice small little community that will, have like their small little houses, cute little houses with flowers all over the place, a nice tight-knit community. It's kind of what I wanted to build here. And it made sense to have a couple of shops right next to where the ferry terminal will be. You can imagine people who will be coming home from, say, one of the bigger towns that will exist on the map. They can do some small grocery shopping as they make their way home. So here we will put down that cute little, I don't know if I should call it a neighborhood or just a nice cluster of people just staying together. And I love these small houses. They really gave me the vibe that I wanted of nice compactness, people that are very tight-knit, and they just love their little space. And yeah, so after this, the bulk of the builds would be focused on just setting up what will be sort of farmlands, but using the resources to just change the texture of the ground to give that look. And we'll fill out the rest of the area around the river bend with these farms, single houses, all dealing in some farming, and then work our way around to the other side of the town where we will continue the expansion. So for now, as we build these farms, I will keep quiet for a bit, let you enjoy it, and then I'll come back in a bit later to talk through another build that I thought was a nice cute addition to this. Okay, I'll chat to you then. Enjoy this build. Alright, so we've doubled all the way around back to the main street in the town, and if you might have seen, I wanted to leave a big lot between the town and where the actual power station is. I didn't think it made sense for these houses or to allow development to go right up against that power station. Look, in real life, a geothermal power plant actually sits pretty remote out in the middle of nowhere anyway. So my small way of, I suppose, acknowledging that is just keeping the houses at least a bit of a distance away from it. So here we will just add a few more shops just to complete the main street, and then we'll get up to sort of the small little build that I wanted to talk about. But before we get there, I just thought I would answer a few questions quickly that I've seen in the comments, and this actually stems from a couple of, should I say, from the little town days, where people would often ask why I'm deleting my trees one by one and not use Move It or the tree brush mod, or a different way of getting rid of the trees. And the simple answer to that is that I enjoy deleting the trees one by one. I know it's weird. It's a, I don't know, call it a little fetish of mine. I don't know what to call it, but I find some strange joy in deleting the trees one at a time. It's kind of the same reason why I like putting down the trees and bushes one at a time. I feel like I have a greater sense of control over it, and especially when placing down the trees, I'm able to shape up the area exactly how I want it. But when it comes to deleting, I don't know, I just enjoy deleting them one by one. There's no other reason. I do know we can use Move It. I know I can use a tree brush mod, but I just enjoy deleting one by one. Yeah, simple as that. And by the way, Tando is not going anywhere, okay? Tando will continue as it is. It will be done without commentary, because I know there are people who like my old build style of no commentary. So that will continue to be exactly as it is, just to ensure that I cater for those people. So that brings me to this build. So I wanted to have this sort of little church with a graveyard right by it. It's something I've always wanted to build for the longest of times, and I want it to be like a small little cute thing. I don't know, it's weird associating graveyards and cuteness, but I just wanted something small, something that feels very private and intimate, and I thought this was a nice setting for this type of build. And I've seen this on like Google Maps and things like that, so I really enjoy the fact that I got to build it here. This little like abandoned house you see in the back, you can imagine people used to stay there at some point, and then all of a sudden this church sprouts up and starts burying people, like literally right in the front yard. So over time, I guess whoever stayed there kind of bailed. They were tired of hearing funny noises at night. And I thought it was also a very nice addition, and I think it complemented the whole church scene quite nicely. And then here we will build what is essentially the last real farm of the place. It's a nice small one that's by a small little pond or a small little lake, if you want to call it that. And yeah, this will kind of be the last thing we do in this episode. So I hope you enjoyed it. Next episode we will continue playing with the farms and work our way again, creeping closer to our first main town. Thanks for watching, and I shall see you in the next one.